Hey friends, welcome back. And like I always ask you, I hope you have an amazing day so far. Thank you for popping over again to see what I have for you today. And of course, if you are new here, welcome. My name is Janny and I'm doing this All About Christmas channel. Like the title is saying, it's all about Christmas. But of course, after January, we are going further again with seasonal decor DIYs and daily decor DIYs. So if you like this content and you like what you see, of course, I hope you will click the red subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. It would help my channel a lot to grow. So enough talking, let's jump in the inspiration for today. And here you see what we will use for this DIY. We need, of course, our tumbling tile blocks, some paint at your choice or maybe some wax. I use my wood glue, but you can use some hot glue. It doesn't matter, but be careful that your DIY is not falling apart, because that's always a little bit with the hot glue. It falls apart very easily. I have here my little container with some cutters, some scissors, some markers, some brushes, of course, and everything I need on hand. And for this DIY, like I said, we don't need a lot of things. You can decorate it later any way you like. What we're going to make a record player, and of course we will see how this will turn out. I never made a record player from tumbling tile blocks. I already did a TV, I already did some sewing machine. I did already a lot of things. You find it also in my on my channel. So if you want to see how I made that one, just go ahead. But I'm going to make now a record player. The first step, what we're going to do is we're going to make the cover, at least his lid, you can do on top of your record player. Of course, we don't use it. It's a kind of a record player which is in kind of a suitcase, like the early days. And I am a little old, so I have to say the early days. I'm going to go for 5 blocks like this, and we're going to glue them in a row. This is already number 1. Number 2, number 3, and number 4, because number 5 will be the closure up. And this way, squeeze it, press it together, and you already have your first 5. We need again 5 blocks like this. We're going to do the same again. 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. And the great thing, if I make it already for you, I make the mistakes, and you can already very easily just make it the way you want to have it, and you give your own twist on it, because that's always the greatest thing. You might make it unique because you give your own twist on it. The last of 5 for the top of the cover. This will be 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. And you see already I have number 5, and we're going to squeeze it, press it down, and make sure that you have a straight line. And we're going to let this dry in for a couple of minutes. In the meantime, while this is drying a little bit in, we're going to get 3 blocks, and we're going to do the tops. And on this top, this is a little bit a difficult block if I am looking correctly, so we will see if I can use it or not. So we have to work with it. This one is really, I think he has some oldness that he doesn't like to work with me anymore. And of course, again, another one of 3. This is 1, and this is number 2. We're going to squeeze them together in a row, and we need 1 of 2. And again, on the top, you do some glue, squeeze them, and we do the last one of 2, and again on the top some glue. I'm going to place this one also together, and we're going to let this dry in for at least also a couple of minutes. So we're going to place our 3 pieces of 5, and we're going to look for which part are fitting the best. You see already this is not quite fitting, so maybe we can turn one around, and this is fitting much better. Here we still have an open gap, and maybe this feels better. And you see already this does, but you also see that this one of the blocks is very, very big. So I have to look for which one is much bigger, and that is, if I'm correctly, is this one. You see already this one. I don't know if I can, because I need to have a border around, and you see then I have already a little problem. So I'm going to debate about what I'm going to do. So I was looking and looking. I had to take two of the smaller lines. I'm going to take one block off and this one block off, and I replace it for two a little bit bigger blocks, and now they are fitting very nicely together because I need a border around it. And if I am not having a little bit like a straight, it doesn't have to be really perfect, but this was really a gap too much. So they are over here and I'm going to use them later. So I'm going to place it on the side, and I'm going to do some glue over here on this one. I'm going to place it down, and we're going to glue this one together. We're going to do this one on the side, and again do some glue. So with this tumbling tile blocks, you always have to think a little bit, and what is fitting right, what is not fitting right. So always, but don't let it discourage you because of discourage you. I don't know even how you really tell it, but don't be disappointed because everyone has the same problem with the block. So just work with it and you always find a solution. So you see, now we already have a nice straight line. We're going to let this dry in a couple of minutes, and then we're going to do the border around it. So I lay down the 1 or 3, 1 or 3, and 1 and 2 of the 2 piece. What we're going to do, we're going to very carefully do a thin line on the underside of the 3 blocks this way, and also on this one. Very easy, just a thin line on the underside of the block this way. And we really go carefully place it straight up, and we're going to place it on the side. We're going to do here the same, just place it over here and give it some pressure. And we're going to do here the same, make a straight line and give it some pressure. For the 2 block, we are going to do some on the over here. We go a thin line over here, and we go a thin line over here. You see, this is what I mean for this one. And we're going to very easily place it against here, this way. And we're going to do on this one the same. We just made a little over here, a little thin line over here, and over here. And again, we're going to put it straight up, and we're going to place it against each other. And of course, it's a little bit longer than the normal side, so you have to squeeze a little, press a little to make it a nice fitting, like this. And if you really want to have it, then you can sand off a little piece of the endings of this one and of this one. But most of the time it really is fitting very nicely. So, and I'm going to let this dry in for at least a half hour. So we already have the top of our record player. We are going to make the same one again, because now we're going to do the underside of the record player. And we are going to make 5 blocks like this, and this one number 2, number 3, and number 4, and number 5. Then again, squeeze it and press it together like this. And this is already number 1. We're going to get another 5, and we're going to do number 1 again, number 2, and number 3, and number 4, and 5 is again the closure up again. Squeeze it, press it together, and this is number 2 already. Now we're going for number 4 and 5, and this is 1, this is number 2, number 3, and number 4. Squeeze it again, and we're going to let it rest again, also like the other one, for a couple of minutes. But we are going to make the sides again. We wipe away the glue we don't need, because most of the time always is coming out a little bit of the glue, and we wipe it away. And what we're going to do now is, so again, I'm going to do this one carefully on the side. I'm going to do some glue also on this side. And I'm going to do very carefully this one on the side because it's still not dry, but it doesn't matter. And if it falls apart, like I always say, don't worry, don't let be disappointed, because you can easily do everything together again. So don't worry about it. You can easily press everything together. That's better when you use hot glue, it's difficult. But with this one, you can easily put everything together. Let it rest for a couple of minutes. Also with this one, we are going to make a nice line with glue on the underside over here. And we're going to place it against here. Make a nice straight line, press it together. And we're going to do here the same. And over here, and this is number 2. Get it straight up, get it together, and press it against the side. And for this one, we're going to do another one, just simple line over here and over here. And you see where the glue is not working with me, but you do it much better than I will. We glue it over here, and we're going to do the same over here. Make a nice thin line over here and over here. And now we're going to place this one also against each other, and make at least sure that one side is very in a straight line, because I'm going to get my jigsaw and I'm going to saw out the endings. So for everyone who uses the smaller blocks, your record player will be a little bit wider, only 2 centimeters. You need rows of 10, 1 of 10, 2 of 10, 3 of 10, 4 of 10, 5 of 10, and then glue them all together. You need 5 blocks glued together on the tops, and you need this 2 times for this side and for this side, and you need 3 glued on the tops, and of course for this side and for this side. And you're not going to place it against it like this. No, you're going to place it on top, and you're going to place this one also on top, 3, and then you do 1 of 5 over here again and 1 of 3 over here again. Then you already have the first cover of your racket. You need 2 completed pieces like this, and then you already are on the same pattern we are with the bigger blocks. Now I'm going to do a bottom of 3 times 5 blocks again. That will be a bottom. And for everyone who uses the smaller blocks, you need again 5 rows of 10 for one bottom. So I'm going to do this one. This is, and number 5 will be the closure up. And like this, and we're going to make 5 again. Very easy. And this is number 3, number 4, and number 5 is again. And have a straight line, and we're going to do the last 5 for the bottom. And this is number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. And you see, we're going to press it down, squeeze it together this way, and we're going to let it rest for a couple of minutes again. So before I go further, of course, make sure if you use the smaller blocks for this bottom, you need 5 times 10 again, the same like you did with your 2 tops. You need again 1 of 10, 2 of 10, 3, 4, 5, and then glue them together like one piece like we do over here. So I'm going to place this on the side, give it a little bit of glue over here. There's already 1, and I'm going to carefully place this straight up, do some glue over here, and we are also going to glue this together until one piece. And we're going to press a little against each other, and we're going to let it rest for at least, I think at least half an hour, like this. Now we're going to make the sides of this bottom, and what we're going to do, we are going to make the same sides like we did with the cover. We are going to do 3 blocks high, and we're going to make 6 of them. So very easy. 1, 2, and this way I can work away the blocks with the mark, because I can work it on the inside of the underside of the bottom of our record player, or else you are having a loss of blocks, and we don't like that. So we do again 1 and number 2, and number 3 will be the closure up again, and make sure that you have a nice straight line. We do 3 again, very easy, and number 2. So we already have one side now for 3 blocks of 3. This way, this is one side of our bottom, and we're going to do another 3. Now we are going to glue them up together, but of course this way, like they are not straight up, but we're going to glue them this way. So again, some glue on the side, some glue on this side, and then you're going to place this 3 together. This is already 1, and you're going to do this one the same on the side and on this side, and you're going to also glue this together, and we're going to place this one over here. Now we only need the sides for over here, and that will be 2 pieces of 3 like this. It's also very easy. This is 1, number 2, and number 3 is the closure up. This is 1, this is 2, and again the closure up, and we're going to do the same over here, and again 1, 2, and 3 is the closure up, and again 1 and 2, and we're going to place it together. This is already 4 of 3 again. What I also could have said to you, make, of course, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blocks of 3, and you would have the same. That was a lot easier than I tell you right now, but don't bear with me. Of course you need 10 of 3, 3 for here, 3 for here, and 2 for here, and 2 for here, but it doesn't matter. You see, that's why I make the mistakes for you, so you don't have to make them again. And we're going to let this rest for a couple of minutes again, and we're going to glue this one also together. So now we are going to glue also, very easy. Of course you have to be careful because they are still a little bit not totally dried in, but it doesn't matter because we can easily glue it together and make a nice straight line. And this is already 1, and we're going to do for this one the same. Just place it on the side, and we're going to place it down, and we're going to press it down, and we make a nice straight line. And we're going to let this dry at least everything in ½ hour. And you see, we are going to make kind of a box. So we are going to do now on the pieces of 3, we are going to do again the same one, a line over here, and we're going to do here the same, also a line, so we can place it straight up against the sides, very easy, and just make a nice straight line, and this way. Make sure, and we're going to do this one the same, also place it on the side against the other one. That's the different thing about the bigger blocks. With the bigger blocks you are doing it on the sides of your bottom, and if you use the smaller blocks you do it on top of your bottom. That's a little bit different. And this one we're going to do again a little line over here, a line on the underside, and a line over here. And we're going to place it against each other this way. And we're going to do here the same, a line over here, a line around here, over here. And of course I have to be a little bit more on the edge over here, and we're going to very carefully place it straight up. I should have done this already, but we are going to, and make sure that you have on one side at least a straight line. And we are going to cut off this kind of pieces later, so don't worry about it. But maybe you don't have that problem, because my blocks is really a disaster, the last packages I have. But if you have maybe better blocks which are fitting much better, then you don't have that problem that I have. So again, we're going to let this rest for at least a half hour. So now for everyone who uses the smaller blocks, like I told you, you need again 10 rows and of course 5 times the same like you did with the top and the top of the record player. So the cover and the top. And now you do again for the third time, you're going to make 5 rows of 10, glue them together. You are going to do 4 high, 3 rows of 4 high, and you're going to do 5 rows of 4 high also over here. So in total you have to make 16 rows of 4 like this. So like this, if you make 16 of this one, you can easily glue 5 here, glue 5 here, 3 here, 3 here, and you're not gluing them against each other, you are gluing again on top of each other. So the same like you did with your cover. So you see here we have our box, and I already found an array that I don't have to cut off my pieces. So if you also have a little overlay over here, don't worry, we find it because it's on this box and it is also on the top we will use over here, because you see this one will be over here and here will be the record player, and of course the needle will be over here. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this also as a space you can use for something to put in, maybe your remote controls from your television. I don't know, you can use it for anything. What I'm going to do, because I don't want that it is going all sides, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it over, I'm going to will close it up, I'm going to glue 2 blocks together like this. I have to look for if they're the same size. So this way I'm only going to do on the tops, on this one and on this one. I'm going to press them together this way, and I'm going to press them together this way, and I'm going to make sure that I give it a couple of minutes to dry in, and then we're going to glue them on the back side over here, but be sure that we glue it on the inside over here like this. I showed it when I glued it, I show it to you. So I'm doing some glue on this side, so very carefully on this side, and I'm going to place it over here, and I have to look for that I place it in the right way. There you are again. You just did go out because my space for filming, it was already gone, so I had to do something with my telephone. You see here, this one, I mean, one of the tops, you see already, you did 2 blocks and you did it on this side, not totally at the ending, but in the middle. And of course, if you use the smaller blocks, you also take 1 piece of the 2 piece you made, and because you made, if everything is correctly, everyone is making and is having 1 box, is having 2 of this one like this, 2 of this and 1 box. Of course, you take 1 of this lid of top cover, how you call it, you turn it over and you do, for the bigger blocks you do 2 blocks. If you have the smaller blocks, you do 4 blocks in a row, and again 4 blocks in a row, and you glue them at the same way I have here with the bigger blocks. That is nothing different. So, and if everything is correctly, you very carefully, you can place it on top of here, and then you already have a kind of a box. And we are going to later of course do some record player inside, and this one will be on top of here. So we already almost have our cover, or maybe suitcase, how you call it, for our record player. So what we're going to do right now, I'm going to make the inside of the record player. For the inside of our record player, we are going to do a couple of things. The first thing what we're going to do, we're going to do some glue on 1 block. We're going to place the other one on top, squeeze it and make a nice straight line like this. We're going to do also 1 of 3 blocks on top of each other, this way and this way over here. And you, if you have the smaller blocks, you are doing the same, also 2 blocks and 1 of 3. We're going to make sure that everything sticks together and let it dry in. And you see, in the meantime, while these blocks are drying, I'm going to have 3 loose blocks. Of course, they are extra because I need to cut one block in half, and I always do a couple of blocks extra, so I'm sure that if one doesn't work, of course I have other ones. So very easy, get your ruler, get the half of your block, and very easy, make a mark over here. So you have the half of the block, because you need this one to use as a needle. So now I have my middle piece, because one of these two will also be cut in half from the 2 blocks which are glued together, and you also have the same with the smaller blocks. Just cut them in half, and you will place that on over here. That will be the stand for your record player, of your record. And I'm going to use the other half. This one is also going in half, the one of 3, and he will be over here, and this will be the stand for the needle. I'm only a little bit debating if you're using 3 smaller blocks, if that's enough. I think if you like a little bit of a smaller needle, then it's enough if you use the smaller blocks. But if you use the smaller blocks and you like a little bit thicker, then maybe you can do 3, and again also 3, and then in half. Then you have a little bit like a bigger stand, but you have to figure it out what is your taste, if you like it better or not. That's really up to you. I can tell you you have to use this or that, because that's your taste. If you go this way, it will be also fine too. You have a smaller block, and it will be, because these are the smaller blocks. This is in half of a smaller block, so if you have that, then your needle will be on top of here, but of course your block will be a little bit smaller. So, but of course it's your own taste, and if you have the smaller blocks, it's of course you probably need 2 pieces glued together like this, because the smaller blocks are a lot smaller. So you need to probably glue this together to get the needle, because he has to be a little bit long, because he has to be over the record. But of course we are going to cut this later, because if you do it right now, he will break apart. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get my piece of board, and you see this is a board of the back side of a dresser, or just like we say here, cast, linen cast. Of course, I find these pieces always with IKEA. They have here in the Netherlands, they have most of the time of the ending of the shop, they have a big box, and you can find all pieces. They are leftovers from people who brought it back, or maybe the dresser was damaged or something else, and you can get them for free. You just take out what you need, and most of the time I always get out this kind of pieces of board, but you can get the same result if you use maybe a thinner piece of wood, or maybe a slice of wood, or maybe even cardboard. If you have a nice piece of cardboard, it's also fine. I have here my coaster. You can normally put your drinks on. This is an old one. Normally I throw it away. I'm going to place it over here, and I'm going to make a round over it, but you have to look for your own piece if you have a nice round which is fitting inside of here, and that is not really out of the your box. So I always do this one, and I'm going to get my marker, and I'm going to go around my round this way, and I'm going to cut it out. So I have everything ready to go to my garage and saw everything out. I have my rounding. You can use, like I said, a piece of cardboard. I have my piece of 3, which we will go in half. I have the piece of 2 also in half. And we have our loose blocks we are going to do also in the length in half. If you have everything like this and you are going to cut everything in half, then you have the right numbers that I have. And you see, here is my pieces, my half blocks in the length, and of course my half blocks over here this way. And you see, I did not 1, but I did 2 of the wooden slices, because I was just working with my prints I want on top of here because we need to make a record. And I have a Mrs. Claus hit album and I have a Santa Claus, Mr. Claus hit album. So I am going to do 2 of them, but of course you don't have to do it. Do you want to use also the prints? And you can, I have it of course for the Christmas season, but you can do it for the Easter season, the Bunny hit album or something else. You can make it for any season at all. That's what the greatest. You can use it all year round in your decor. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get first the paint because we're going to paint everything before we're going to do the prints. So I'm going to look for which colors I think is the best, but you can choose any color you like. So I figured out which colors I will use. Of course, I'm going to do 2 pieces, the little box and one of the tops without the underside. I'm going to do in the little bit of the creamy color, just a little off-white, and I'm going to do this one a little bit in the darker brown. And I show it to you this way, but it looks like a real big mess inside, but, but you see, I will show you the real color. So I'm going to go for a little bit of the darker color. Yeah, it looks, I don't know which color you will call it. At least it's a little bit darker, and this one will be, like I said, lighter, and this will be black. And I only do the sides because I'm going to do a print on the front and on the back side. So I'm only going to do the sides in the black. This will be in the black, the needle will be in the black, and also the loose pieces I will probably use later will also be black. But choose any color you like. So you see, I have here and here my pieces. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take the 3 blocks, which are on top of each other. And you can use the bigger one, you can use the, because they are not always totally the same size. You see already this one is a little bit, a bit higher. So I'm going to go for this 3 and I'm going to glue the smaller one, the half, I'm going to glue exactly in the middle of the 3 blocks. So I keep the 3 block this way. And I'm going to do some wood glue. Of course, I have to look for the cutting side because I'm going to do this one down. So I'm going to do some glue over here. And I'm going to place it in the middle of this one. And I'm going to press it down. And like this. And I'm going to get a small brush and I wipe away the glue we don't need. But first I'm going to let it dry in a couple of minutes. So you see, this one is how he is looking like this, and we are going to glue this later over here. But first we're going to take a 2 block, which are the 2 on top of each other. We are going to do some glue on the back side on one of the pieces over here, and we're going to place it on the box. This is the front, and we're going to place it now not totally in the middle, but in the side of the ending of this and this one. So over here in the middle, I'm going to glue it over here like this, and I'm going to give it a little bit of pressure so it gets really nice into the wood this way. And you see, this is what I mean, just over here, and just let it dry. So now we have our little block over here. You can see it if this is the front. And I'm going to get now my needle, at least it's supposed to be like a needle. And I'm going to glue this over here. So I'm going to do some wood glue on the underside over here. Just a little drop in the middle. And we are going to place it over here a little bit sideways. And you can measure it out because this will be the record. Just lay it on top like this. And then you have to look for if you have the needle on top of your record this way. So if everything is correctly, you have him over here right now like this. So if you have it this way, but of course you can change them up any way you like. But of course you see already there's a little bit of glue coming out. So I'm going to get my thin brush again and I'm just going to wipe away the glue we don't need. I'm going to get my wet towel and I'm going to wipe away the glue and this way over here, and we are going to let this dry in. So now we're going to make our records, and of course I'm going to make also a print for the logo of, because I want to make my record player from Philips. I know a lot of you already know the name, but of course I'm debating if I do it on the front or in the middle of the cover, so we will see. And I'm going to make, like I said, I'm going to make a record from Mrs. Claus hit album and of course Mr. Claus hit album. So we are going to make 2 records, but like I told you earlier, you can do it for any season. So here I have it for Mr. Claus, Mrs. Claus, and of course my print for the Philips record player. So I'm going to, I know you see it backwards, but that's just my telephone, don't worry. I'm just going to cut everything out and we're going to Mod Podge it on top of our pieces. You see, I did cut out my print and this is how he's looking like. Of course, don't worry, you see it backwards. Oh, he's really he's really getting dark. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do some Mod Podge, very easy, on top of the slice, and I'm just going to place my over here. I'm just going to do, try not to go on the outside, because or else you get a shiny outside and I don't like, but if you like shiny, it's fine, then you can go on the outside. And I'm going to do this way and take my time for it, and I'm going to do this side and over here, and I'm going to lay in. And of course sometimes maybe he's not totally fitting right, but we are going to work with that later. But first we're going to let this dry in, and I'm going to try not to, and look for which part is fitting the best, and this way. And I'm going to go over it and make sure that we don't get the Mod Podge on the outside. So I'm going to do all of them, and then you see of course how it's looking like inside of our record player. So I have my 2 records, and now I'm going to do the logo of the company. I'm going to do it in the inside of the cover. So I'm going to do it this way, and of course I'm going to do not now everything under the Mod Podge. I'm just going to take a piece of kitchen towel, I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to Mod Podge this side, so then I don't get Mod Podge in the whole cover. But if you like, I told you earlier, with the same with records, if you like a little bit of the shiny look, it doesn't matter, then do everything. And even you can go over the print later if you like more like a shiny look. So I'm going to go and place this one in the middle. I have to look for if I have it in the middle. I think I have him. I think he looks very nice. So you see, this is already how he's turning out. And like I told you, if you want to use the print, you will find them in the free printable down below in my description box. There you also find places where you can find the bigger blocks. So go over and go to the free printables, and then you can use them if you want to. Of course, you can also make your own. So now I'm going to put everything together, and in a moment you see, because I still do some glue, some wood glue on the here, on this side, and I'm going to glue it on top of here. So very easy. This way I'm going to glue it in here, and we're going to let this dry. So that's the only step you still need to do. Wood glue on this ending and on this ending, and just place it on the back side and let it dry in for at least, yeah, I think most is better overnight. And then you see, for me in a moment a quick impression. And here you see finally a quick impression of our tumbling tile blocks record player, and I'm so happy how he turned out. It was a little bit of puzzling, but at the end he is so easy to make, so I hope you give it a try. And if you already took out your tumbling tile blocks and you have right now your own record player, of course I hope you had so much fun with it. Of course, if you're only here to watch, of course I hope you had fun watching. And do you want to see more DIYs? Come on over to my description box, there you find the link for our DIY channels. Hope to see you there. And of course, if you're not subscribed, I hope you will click the red subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. It would help my channel a lot to grow. So enough talking. I wish you all an amazing day and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.